I found a voice recording on my fiancé's phone she'd accidentally left unlocked. "Mom, I'm only marrying him for citizenship, then I'm filing for divorce." I sent it to Immigration Services. Her petition was denied and she had to leave the country. My name is Daniel. 29, and I need to get this off my chest because I can't tell anyone in real life. What I did was legal, but I'm not sure if it was right. Met Margaret 3 years ago at a friend's birthday party. She was from Brazil, here on a student visa finishing her MBA. Beautiful, charming, spoke 4 languages. Way out of my league, honestly. But she laughed at my terrible jokes and actually seemed interested when I talked about my boring hobbies. We clicked immediately. Started dating within a month. She met my parents after 6 months. I met hers when they visited from Sao Paulo. Wealthy family. Her dad owned some tech company. They were polite but distant. Margaret said they were always like that with strangers. Everything felt perfect, too perfect looking back. She moved in after a year, started talking about her visa running out after graduation. I offered to help her find a job sponsor, but she said the market was brutal for international students. Then one night she was crying about having to leave the country, leave me. I proposed 2 months later. She said yes immediately. Cried happy tears. Called her mom right there in the restaurant. Her parents suddenly became much friendlier, started calling me son. Her dad even offered to pay for the entire wedding. We filed the initial marriage-based petition, the I-130, so she could adjust her status after we were married. It felt like the right protective thing to do. Wedding planning consumed our lives. Margaret handled everything with her mom. They'd have hours-long calls in Portuguese. I'd catch snippets, sometimes hear my name mentioned. When I asked, she'd say they were discussing seating arrangements or flowers. 3 weeks before the wedding, Margaret left her phone unlocked on the kitchen counter while she showered. It buzzed with a WhatsApp notification from her mom. I wasn't snooping, just wanted to plug it into charge, but the message preview said my name, so I looked. The conversation was in Portuguese. I put it through Google Translate. "Mom, remember what we discussed? After you get the green card, wait at least 18 months before filing. It looks less suspicious." "I know, Mom. It's harder than I thought. He really loves me." "That's not your problem. Your father has everything arranged with Anthony's family. They're expecting the wedding announcement next Christmas." I scrolled up. There were voice messages. My hands were shaking as I played one from 2 days ago. "Mom, I'm only marrying him for citizenship. Then I'm filing for divorce." "Yes. I remember the plan." "No. He doesn't suspect anything. He's sweet but naive. It'll be fine." I forwarded everything to my email, screenshots, voice recordings, all of it. Then I put the phone back exactly where I found it. She came out of the shower, kissed me, asked what I wanted for dinner. I said I wasn't hungry, had a work emergency, drove to a parking lot and sat there for 3 hours reading and rereading everything. There was more, so much more. How she targeted me specifically because I seemed lonely and stable. How her ex-boyfriend Anthony was waiting for her back home, apparently from an even wealthier family her parents wanted to merge businesses with. How she'd been sending him photos from our trips with captions like "suffering for our future." The wedding was in 20 days. Deposits paid. Guests flying in. My mom had been crying happy tears for months about finally getting grandchildren. I contacted an immigration lawyer that night. Paid for an emergency consultation. He said marriage fraud was a serious federal crime. That if I went through with the wedding, I'd be on the hook for an affidavit of support for years, and untangling myself from the fraud later would be a nightmare. He confirmed I had the option to withdraw my petition and report the fraud. He told me exactly how to do it. I formally withdrew the I-130 petition I had filed for her and submitted all the evidence to the USCIS fraud tip line. Then I waited. Margaret noticed I was distant, but I blamed work stress. The wedding planning continued. Her dress fittings, cake tastings where she fed me samples and laughed, all while texting Anthony about their real future. About 2 weeks later, a thick envelope from USCIS arrived addressed to both of us. She opened it at breakfast, went white, started hyperventilating. It was a notice of intent to deny our petition, citing specific evidence submitted to this office that indicates the beneficiary may be entering the marriage for the primary purpose of evading immigration laws. She looked at me with huge eyes. "What do I do? This is a mistake." I shrugged. "We should probably talk to a lawyer." We did. Her lawyer was grim. He said the evidence was damning. They could fight it, but it was hopeless. Withdrawing my support and providing direct evidence meant the petition was dead. A week later, the final denial came. The notice also stated that because she was no longer a student and her petition for adjustment of status was denied, her visa was invalid. She was officially out of status. Another letter came a few days after that. This one was from ICE. It gave her 60 days for voluntary departure leave on her own terms, or they would initiate formal removal proceedings which would end with a deportation order and a permanent ban from the U.S. The car ride home from the lawyer's office was silent except for her crying. Back at the apartment, she turned on me. It was you. Not a question. What are you talking about? They had recordings only from my phone. The notice mentioned evidence from the petitioner. It was you. I could have denied it, almost did, but I was tired. Yeah. It was me. She slapped me hard. Called me things in Portuguese I didn't need translated. Then she begged, actually got on her knees, said she did love me, that it had become real, that we could work through this. Margaret, you literally have a boyfriend waiting for you. I was going to tell him it's over. I swear I chose you. You chose a green card. She switched tactics, threatened to tell everyone what I did, that I'd ruined her life out of spite. Her family had connections, she said. They destroy me. Go ahead. Tell everyone you committed immigration fraud. She was on a plane to Sao Paulo a month later, a week before the deadline. I know because she sent me a photo from the gate with a message. I hope you're happy. My parents won't even look at me. Anthony's family called off everything. You ruined my life. I didn't respond. Update 1. It's been a few months since Margaret left. The wedding venue kept our deposit, obviously. I'm out about $8,000 total. My family. That was rough. Had to tell them the wedding was off, that we'd broken up. My mom cried. My dad said he knew something was off about her. Some of our mutual friends figured out what happened. Margaret told her version, that I discovered her plan, and instead of just breaking up, I had cruelly chosen to ruin her life. A few of them didn't believe her, but they didn't side with me either. They said I should have just called it off like a normal person instead of weaponizing the system. I lost some friends over the method, not the reason. The others said they'd noticed red flags. Easy to say after the fact. My buddy Mark, who introduced us at his party, finally admitted something. Margaret had asked him specifically about me before that night. Wanted to know if I was single, what I did for work, if I was stable. He thought she was interested. Now he feels guilty. I still have all her stuff in boxes. Can't bring myself to throw it out or send it. Her parents contacted me once through a lawyer demanding I ship everything to Brazil at my expense. I ignored it. Started therapy last week. Therapist asked if I regret it. Honestly, I don't know. I saved myself from a fake marriage and a legal mess, but I keep thinking about her crying, her panic when those letters came. Was there any part of it that was real? Does it matter? What really messes with me is how good she was at it. 3 years. Every day for 3 years she smiled at me, kissed me, told me she loved me. We had inside jokes. She knew how I liked my coffee. She held my hand at my grandfather's funeral. How do you fake all that? My therapist says it wasn't all fake. That manipulative people often develop real feelings but compartmentalize them. That she probably did care about me, just not enough to change her plan. I want to believe that it's somehow worse than thinking it was all a lie. Update to posted this update because you won't believe what happened last week. I was in Toronto for a work conference on my last day. I was killing time in a coffee shop in the Yorkville area when I heard my name. That voice, my stomach dropped to my shoes. Margaret. Standing there with a laptop bag and a coffee, she looked different. Thinner. Her designer clothes replaced with a simple sweater and jeans, but still beautiful, still her. Hi Daniel, she said. Margaret was all I managed. What are you doing here? I live here now, she said. Got a work visa through a program for people with MBAs. It's not the us, but it's a life. My own. Good for you. I deserved what happened. I deserved all of it. Why are you telling me this, Margaret? I owe you an explanation. A real one. I almost left. Should have left, but I'd wanted answers for a year. We sat down. My family isn't broke, she said, which surprised me. They're wealthy but they're controlling. The marriage to Anthony wasn't about saving them from debt. It was a dynastic plan merging his family's old money influence with my father's tech company. I was a business asset. So you used me? I stated yes, but not for the reason you think. The American green card. It was my escape plan. My only one. My plan was to marry you, get citizenship, and then disappear. From you, yes. But more importantly, from them. From Anthony. I was terrified of that life. I picked you because you were kind and stable, because I knew you wouldn't see the signs. It was cruel and selfish, and I knew it. Each word was a punch to the gut, but she wasn't done. Then I did something stupid. I fell for you. Not part of the plan. My mom was furious when I defend you, and I'd say maybe we could make it work for real. She'd remind me about my duty to the family. But you still recorded that message about only marrying me for citizenship. Her hands tightened on her cup. The day before you found everything, my mom had been on me for hours, said I was getting weak, that I needed to remember my purpose. So I sent that message to shut her up, to prove I was still in control. 20 minutes after I sent it, you came home with flowers. Random Tuesday flowers, just because. I cried myself to sleep that night knowing what I was doing to you. Am I supposed to feel sorry for you? No. God, no. I'm just trying to explain, not excuse, explain. She told me what happened after. How Anthony's family immediately cut ties when the scandal of a denied U.S. visa petition came out. How her parents blamed her for the failure. How she'd lived with a cousin in Sao Paulo working a terrible job until she found a lawyer who specialized in Canadian immigration and clawed her way to the life she had now. My life imploded and I deserved it. But you know what the worst part was? Missing you. Not the visa, not the plan, not the life I thought I'd have. You. Your stupid jokes, the way you hummed in the shower, how you'd bring me tea without me asking. I didn't know what to say. Still don't. You destroying my plan was the best thing that ever happened to me, she said with a bitter laugh. I was going to be a trophy wife controlled by my parents. Now I'm just a mid-level analyst in Toronto. My apartment is tiny and I'm happier than I've been in years because it's real. It's mine. She stood to leave. I found myself asking, was any of it real? She turned back. The first time you made me laugh, really laugh, not the practiced giggle I'd perfected. I knew I was in trouble. The night your grandfather died, I held you while you cried and wished I could absorb your pain. When you proposed, for about 10 seconds I forgot it was all a lie and just felt happy. So yes, it was real. The love was real. It just wasn't enough to overcome the lie. She left. I sat there for another hour. Update 3. Final update. It's been 2 years since I posted the original story. Thought I should give one last update before I close this chapter for good. After that Toronto encounter, Margaret texted me once. Just said thank you for listening. I won't contact you again. I hope you find someone who deserves you. I didn't reply, but I didn't delete it either. Ran into Mark at a bar last month. He asked a little sheepishly if I knew Margaret had landed on her feet in Canada. He'd seen her professional profile online, said she was doing well, got promoted, was dating some architect, normal guy, normal relationship. He saw the look on my face and quickly changed the subject. I'm in therapy twice a month now, working through trust issues obviously, but also guilt, because here's the thing. I did the right thing legally, but I still struggle with whether I did the right thing morally. My therapist says both can be true. That protecting yourself doesn't make you a bad person even if someone else gets hurt. Started dating again 6 months ago, met someone through a hiking group. Sandra. She's a teacher born and raised here. Zero immigration complications. She jokes that she's so American. Her blood type is apple pie. I told her about Margaret on our 4th date. All of it expected her to run. Instead, she said that must have been incredibly painful for both of you. We're taking it slow. Very slow. I check myself constantly. Am I being paranoid? Am I punishing Sandra for Margaret's lies? Sometimes I catch myself testing her, looking for inconsistencies. When I realize I'm doing it, I tell her. We talk through it. It's not romantic or exciting. It's work, but it's honest work. My mom still has the wedding dress she bought to wear to my wedding. She can't return it, can't donate it, can't throw it away. It hangs in her closet like a ghost. She doesn't know the real story, thinks we just grew apart. I let her believe that some truths don't help anyone. I still have the screenshots on my hard drive tucked in a folder I never opened but can't delete. Evidence of the life I almost had. The life that almost had me. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd never seen that message. Would we be married now? Would she have gone through with her plan? Would I have spent years loving someone who was counting down to leaving? But mostly I try not to think about it. Because here's what 3 years of deception taught me. People are complicated. Love is complicated. Margaret was simultaneously the woman who used me and the woman who cried in my arms. The woman who targeted me for an escape route and the woman who brought me soup when I was sick, the villain and the victim of her own story. I reported her because I had to protect myself. She was going to commit fraud using my name, my life, my future, but I also did it because I was hurt, angry, betrayed. Both motivations existed at once, twisted together like DNA strands. She's built a real life now. So have I. Neither of us got the future we planned, but maybe we got the ones we needed. To anyone reading this, who's been betrayed? Who's discovered their life was built on lies? It's okay to protect yourself. It's okay to choose your own safety over someone else's scheme. Even if you love them, even if part of you still does, and to anyone considering using someone like this, don't. The damage goes deeper than you think for everyone. I'm closing my inbox after this. Moving on. Sand was coming over tonight. We're making dinner together. Nothing fancy, just pasta and salad. Real life. Real boring, beautiful, ordinary life. It's enough. More than enough. It's everything.